Hi, welcome to this short introduction to the timeline feature in HIPPO. So here's the timeline. It's the second bottom option in the main HIPPO menu. I click on timeline and HIPPO automatically generates a timeline for my chosen date and time range. The date and time range in my particular screen here is the last hour. I could select last 24 hours, previous week and so on. If I select the last 24 hours, I click on it, then I click refresh and HIPPO will build the 24-hour picture. Okay, so what am I doing here? Well, first of all, I'd like to see the entire chart. So I click on the HIPPO bar, which toggles the menu off, and I see the full timeline chart. On the side here, I see numbers from 0 to 100, which is percentage of available resource. And in the bottom half of the chart, I see the names of sessions. I can switch the bottom half of the chart between sessions and workflows. I'm seeing in the bottom half of the chart, the workflows and sessions active over the period. And I'm seeing the top half of the chart, how that correlated with the resource usage over that period. So my yellow line here is giving me memory percentage utilised during this time period. The blue line is giving me CPU percentage utilised over the time period, and the red line is giving me data movement. If I want to focus on only just one of those, then I can toggle the others off, and in this case I'm only seeing memory. So I'm seeing memory and I can correlate that against which processes are active. As you can see, if I run my mouse over any of these rectangles, each of which represents an execution of an individual session or a workflow, then the details of that execution appear. So I get the start date and time and the end date and time. I get the session name, the workflow name, the project name, the folder name, and I can also even drill down into a particular session and look at what's been going on in that session in detail using the standard HIPPO facilities to drill down into the task details, and HIPPO pops up a new tab in my browser in order that I can do that. So I'm going to turn that off for now and I'm going to go back to the chart and focus on it. So first of all, what if I want to, I've got a 24-hour period here and I see a particular period which I'm interested in zooming in on. There's been an incident in my environment. I'd like to know what was happening there at 6 AM. I can double click and HIPPO will drill down so that I can drill down into the period that I'm interested in, which again, as I mentioned, was 6 AM. I'd like to see what was active around at 6 AM in my environment. And if I scroll over with my mouse bar straight away, I can see which sessions were active there. Now I can scroll through time by clicking in the bottom here and dragging my mouse across, and that reminds me to scroll across time, perhaps to focus in on another period when there were some issues in my environment. And I can filter which information I'd like to appear on my timeline by typing in some filter criteria up here. So I'm going to type in informatica, and you can see that I only had one session which contains those letters, and now the timeline only shows me that particular session in the detail in the bottom half of the chart, so that if I've got a very active or very busy environment, I can drill down just into those particular sessions or workflows that I'm interested in. I can also take this filter off, go back to the full display here, and if I only want to focus in on resources and not on the actual sessions and workflows, I can click on compress and it'll take that level of workflow and session detail off, and I can again I can scroll through time and find my particular area of interest and then drill down into it to see the details of what was going on in there, as I'm doing here. So that's all that I'd like to say for now. The second video in this series talks about how we can use timeline to diagnose problems in our environment, and I hope you can join me there. Thank you. Bye bye.